Thank you for joining us online, and for anyone who is going to be viewing us on YouTube, welcome. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. We're here to talk about the combined degree program that we offer at the College of Communications. I'm Flavio. I'm your admissions counselor here with the Office of Graduate Admissions. I want to welcome you all. We're also joined here today by our esteemed faculty and staff, Dr. Matt Regis.
Hey everybody, welcome in person and online and recorded, folks watching this on playback.
Yeah, right. And our academic advisor, Seth Horning. So you'll be hearing from all of us in terms of what the combined degree program is. Move it over. So what the combined degree program is, the application process, the benefits and how you can fund that degree, as well as just the overall benefits of staying at DePaul for another year and completing your master's degree as well. So to kick things off, I'm going to hand it over to Matt, who can give you a welcome and overview of DePaul. I know you're already a little bit familiar, but just a reminder of why it's so good and the great things that DePaul does.
All right, we're going to give you all a little bit of a refresher, so you've got the pitch down on DePaul. But before we do that, I really want to highlight that you're in very good hands. If you choose the BA/MA option, literally as of the time of this recording, I just had a newly admitted grad student shouting out how awesome Flavio was to work with. So Flavio will be your go-to if you do the BA/MA on the grad admission side. And then it's not just me saying this, I am biased, but in Seth Horning, we have a fantastic graduate senior academic advisor and at least as good a human who is your go-to for all of the grad students within our college. And then you've got me in Dr. Matt Regis. I am a professor of public relations and advertising, professional communications, so I teach in 2 of our 5 grad programs, and I am our director of graduate studies. So that means I help provide oversight of our 5 graduate programs, of which 4 you have the opportunity then to do the BA/MA. DePaul at a glance, we are the largest private university in the Midwest. It's not Notre Dame, it's DePaul, and we have a very rich and diverse alumni base around the country, globally, and we are super duper strong with many of our alums choose to work and live in Chicagoland. And then we are very proud of our career success data and placements. And so we have a very high success rate. As you're thinking about extending and deepening your time at DePaul through the BA/MA, one thing to think about as you're thinking about master's programs is I would be asking questions like, where are your alums working? What are you in touch with your alumni base? Are they involved in your classes? And very much I can say confidently that if you ask us about a large organization, a company or an agency or a nonprofit in Chicago, chances are we can identify 1 or more of our alums that are there, because part of what you're doing with grad school is leveling up, upskilling your skills and your knowledge, but it's also helping you advance your career and build those networks and friendships and mentorships with your faculty. Next slide.
Absolutely. So again, just an overview of what we'll be talking today. We'll go through the programs that are a part of this combined degree path. We'll go through the application process and everything that you need to do to be admitted into the program, how to finance your degree, and the benefits, the tuition benefits that you get from being a part of the combined degree program, as well as an overview of scheduling and what your courses will look like during your senior year and during that 5th year as a grad student, and important deadlines. And then we'll leave plenty of time at the end for Q&A and just a larger conversation. So what is the combined degree? The combined degree is essentially you completing your Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science in the 4 years while taking graduate coursework during your senior year. You would take 1 graduate class every quarter of your senior year before transitioning into becoming a full graduate student for that 5th year. And then after completing your courses in that 5th year, you'll receive your Master of Arts. In the following, you can choose between communication and media, digital communication and media arts, journalism, and public relations and advertising. So I heard you were interested in common media and Prad, was it? For you, Maggie?
Oh, digital media.
Digital media,
Yeah.
wonderful. So we can talk more about those programs as well. But for anyone online or watching us on YouTube, it's important that you know that students from any undergraduate program at DePaul University can apply and is eligible to be a part of the combined degree program. So you don't need to be a communications student and you don't need a background in communications to be considered for the program. Alrighty, so a quick overview of the application process. Again, who can apply? Any undergraduate student at DePaul University who is on track to complete all of the degree requirements by the end of their senior year, or have at least 16 open credits and a 3.0 GPA. So it's important that you have those credits open and freed up so that we can fill those with your graduate level courses. And Seth can chime in a little bit later about what that would look like for you. When would you apply? Ideally, by the end of your junior year, you can be, an early planner and think far ahead and begin to plan for that. That's totally okay. And in fact, recommended. That way you can plan the rest of your courses, keeping in mind that you will be taking graduate coursework during your senior year. But you technically have up until you start your senior year to apply. Even if you are a senior and you have 1 or 2 quarters left, that doesn't disqualify you from the program. There's still an opportunity for you to get that savings in there. So definitely connect with us and we can work around your specific timeline. But these are the general requirements. How do you apply? Just as you did for undergrad, or maybe you applied to the Common App for undergrad, right? Yeah, well, this is different. You'll go on DePaul's website. You'll click on the Apply Now button. It's pretty hard to miss. It's everywhere on that page. You'll click on it, open up a graduate application for the combined degree program. So it's its own separate application that's labeled as combined degree. And you'll open that up for the College of Communications. The requirements for the application vary depending on your program, but typically include 2 letters of recommendation from your professors. So definitely begin to plan and contact those professors that you wish to write you a letter of recommendation well in advance. A statement of purpose, just telling us why do you want to do your master's degree? Why are you interested in continuing your education, specifically at DePaul, and a little bit more about your career goals so that we can ensure that this aligns with what you're looking for. Your DePaul undergraduate transcripts, those are easy for us to pull. We can just pull those from your record, and a writing sample may be required as well.
I was gonna say on the letters of recommendation, you generally want to give 2 weeks or more when you reach out to a professor. Do you know what I mean? Try to give them, it just shows respect to their schedule. And so that takes a little bit of planning ahead. A lot of the professors are gonna be familiar with, if they teach regularly with us, the BA, MA, and the idea of a letter of recommendation request. They'll be used to it, but you might need to explain it to them a little bit and certainly give them just time to be able to put that together.
Yeah, and the letters are typically what might hold up your application. If you've completed your part, you've uploaded everything that you need and you submitted it.
Exactly.
If we're still waiting on those letters of recommendation, we can't review the application until those are submitted. So definitely plan ahead, let your recommenders know.
The cool thing is like when you're applying as a grad student from outside externally, transcripts might be something that can kind of slow you down. But in this case, since it's internal to DePaul, that's gonna, the only external piece I think would be those letters that you don't control as an applicant.
Yeah, and for your context, the way that the letters are submitted on the application, you'll enter your recommender's contact information, you'll enter their email, and then they will receive an email with a URL where they can upload the letter through there. So it's uploaded confidentially through their email. But if you run into any issues with that or with transcripts, you can always email them directly to me or our office. I'll leave the contact information at the end, and we can attach those to your application with ease. There's also forms that need to be signed by your academic advisors. This really doesn't involve much work from the student. It's just something for you to be aware of. But those forms will be available as you get closer to that registration date for your graduate classes. Alrighty. Now, the real and I think biggest benefit of the combined degree is the savings that you will end up receiving in this program. As I mentioned, 4 of those graduate courses that you'll take during your senior year will be billed at the undergraduate rate. So they'll technically be included in your undergraduate tuition. So that's already, 2 quarters of grad school that you're saving on. On top of that, for the remainder of your program during that 5th year, you receive the double demon discount. So the double demon discount is a 25% savings on your 2nd degree here at DePaul. So that master's degree will be your 2nd degree, making you a double demon. There's nothing that you need to do for that. It's automatically applied to your account. You don't need to submit an application or anything like that. So that 25% discount is automatically applied to your 5th year. In total, with that 25% savings and the 4 graduate classes that are billed at the undergraduate level, it's about a 44% savings on the total cost of a graduate degree. So that's almost 50% that you could be saving by doing the combined degree program, not just in money, but you're also saving time with that. And then, of course, there is still options for you to finance that remaining amount. So if you're eligible, you can still apply for FAFSA and receive FAFSA loans that can be applied to your graduate studies. There's also course tuition waivers that are available to our current and admitted students. During the fall and in the winter, faculty will send out a survey just sort of asking, hey, anybody want some tuition dollars? And then you can submit that form and receive a tuition waiver for one of your classes in a following quarter or subsequent quarter. There's also the scholarships that are available through the DePaul Academic Works website. So you can begin to apply for those after being admitted. And those scholarships all range in terms of amounts and qualifications and deadlines. And just a small caveat, scholarships, awards, and discounts cannot be combined. So the highest award will be applied to your account. Something for you to be aware of because that double demon discount, the 25% savings, is one of the largest awards that we offer. So that's the award that would typically take precedent over any other scholarship that you might receive.
I'm trying to think, should we mention to this gang about Grad Plus? And
I thought about it, but I think it'll be a little past.
maybe it'll be it's because July is when,
Yeah,
unless they're taking action right now.
exactly.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
true.
And then junior
So
and
there's a
senior.
subsidized federal loan program that is being phased out as of July. That's the Grad Plus, and then there's changes to Parent Plus. So if you've heard of those terms and that might be of interest, it's very time sensitive right now, if that makes sense. Because right now it's being grandfathered. If you get in or understanding, they're still issuing those new subsidized loans. From now until then they cut them off starting, they won't write new ones in July.
Yeah, exactly. So if you are considering using those graduate plus loans to cover the cost of your schooling, definitely check in on that timeline and what that looks like. But the cutoff date
Yeah,
for new issuance on the graduate
July.
plus loans is July 15th.
The unsubsidized private loans, of course, that's gonna continue on, but this is the lower interest rate program that legislation that passed last year changed.
Yeah, and that's a result of changes in the federal government to financial aid. It's ever evolving, so it could change within the next years as well. Alrighty, and I'll hand it off to Seth, who can talk a little bit more about what your schedule could look like as a combined degree student.
Yeah, so generally for the combined degree program, there's 3 classes that you get to take as an undergrad student. You'll take one in each of your final 3 quarters, and then you'll use that either towards your open electives, if you have any open electives available, or they can be used towards your communication electives, if you have any of those available. So that's kind of how they slot into your undergrad degree. And then when you finish, if you've taken all 3 of your grad classes as an undergraduate student, that should leave you 9 classes remaining for your graduate program. And so you'll have 3 classes a quarter for your final 3 quarters, and that's your 5th year. So most of our combined degree students finish a year after they start the program, and they would finish up that next, like in your case, like spring. You don't have to. Yeah, you can go part-time if you want. You can just take 2 classes a term if you want to. So it kind of depends on what your flexibility is. So you're not locked into that 3 classes a quarter for a year. But that's a typical path that our combined degree students take. So pretty straightforward.
Full-time, I guess that's for grad, because you're used to probably what full-time is for undergrad. So full-time for grad is like 2 or 3 classes a quarter. Part-time would be doing that 1 class a quarter. And we find it really, a lot of the BA MA students, as Seth said, they want to knock it out in that 1 additional year.
Yep.
So they'll do 3 classes a quarter. That is pretty darn intense. And so it depends on what you're doing, internship and or job wise, or just like family and like life commitments. And we have students that like you can adjust it down. Like you can downshift it and say, you know, I'm gonna do 2 classes, or even, I don't know, something's going on in my life, I'm gonna do 1. And the cost is gonna be the same. It's just come down to time. Like you're saving the same financially.
Yeah, your timeline will be extended, but
Yeah.
you're still getting that benefit in saving. Good. I'll build
Yeah,
on
and then
that.
if you do get admitted to the program, if you apply and admit, then I would become your advisor for the last year. And then we would just touch base each quarter so I could give you permission for which grad class to take. So depending on your program, there might be a specific choice, like this is the class you have to take. And I'll let you know and give you permission. Other times I'll give you some options and then you'll confirm with me which one you want. Because what you'll find is you can't enroll in those classes on your own. You'll get rejected until I've given you permission. So we just work together, making sure we get those classes set up during your senior year, basically.
And does that mean that you'll be their sole advisor, or would
Yep,
they still be
I
meeting?
steal them away from their undergrad. You
Yeah.
know, the ones you've fallen in love with and have been with forever, I steal them and I kind of finish you out that way.
And then you also help them with enrolling in the undergraduate level classes.
Yeah, so any questions you would have at that point, I would just become your advisor at that point. Yep.
So you can contact Seth with any questions regarding your course planning or selection during that 5th year and during your senior year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if y'all run into any quirks with like the application process for the BA MA, I know we talked about like there's a big button and you click on it and like there's a form that your undergrad advisor has to submit. If you run into any bumps, you're just gonna reach out to us, and like the 3 of us are in touch almost every day, and like I can't explain enough how good a hands you all are in with Flavio and Seth.
Yes, and that concludes our presentation, our spiel here. So we'll open it up for questions, and I'll leave our contact information up here as well. So my information is on top. You can find Matt down there and Seth as well.
Yeah.
So feel free to reach out with any questions or thoughts that you might be having.
But we open it up to questions.
Yeah, we open it up for questions, and generally between the 3 of us, we'll either know the answer or we can get to it. This is my 16th year at DePaul on the faculty. Seth, this is your
14 years.
14, and
This is my
in Flavio, you also have a very talented staff member and also a fellow grad student
yes.
as well. So you get like, I think that's another benefit of perspective.
Yeah, I'm a combined degree student from the College of Business. So I did end up applying during my senior year, currently in that grad program right now. I actually took some time away and had to take a little bit longer just to balance everything with work. But it is very doable. And I'm still receiving that benefit, which is really helpful.
That's kind of cool.
But we'd love to open it up for questions, you know, anything about grad school, BA, MA, careers, really anything that's on your mind. We're glad to try to help answer. Yeah.
So for senior year, would we walk the stage or would we wait until that 5th year to receive like both degrees?
You get to walk twice.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, so you'll graduate with your undergraduate degree at the end of your senior year, and then you'll matriculate into the graduate program, and you'll have the opportunity to graduate from that program as well. So
Okay.
you get to
We get to cheer you on twice, which is really, which is nice.
Yeah,
Because historically, BA, MA, that option attracts just some really
yeah.
stellar, like, y'all are like rising stars. So, that's a good question. Yeah, twice.
Well, I
asking-
guess, what was I gonna say? How would you describe like the workload in courses or just like project related
That's a good question.
stuff?
I'll speak on this. I think it was, there's definitely a difference between like your undergraduate classes and your graduate classes. I think it's a good difference.
Mhm.
Just being in your grad classes, you're probably going to be the youngest one there in the room. But that's nice because you get to learn from all of your peers who have very diverse experiences. Maybe some of them are, mid-level professionals or career changers or people who just have been out of undergrad for some time. But there's also a good mix of students who are, recently graduated or right out of undergrad. But you get to learn from all of them, and they are serious. I think much more serious than in undergrad, which is nice because it's like you can
Yes.
tell that they're all there for that degree. They're all there because they want to upskill and grow in their career, and it inspires me at least to be surrounded in a room of other individuals who are further in their career or looking to develop even more. The workload itself, I wouldn't say it's much more difficult. I think it's pretty much in line. It's a lot more teamwork, so a lot more like kind of independent on your own, figuring out with your team how to work
Right.
around everyone's busy schedule. But it's nothing that you can't do if you're already in undergraduate classes. Would you add anything
Yeah,
to that?
I think that's a great summation. And generally, just thinking about PR and advertising, I've taught a class in every year for 16 years, and then Procom attracts somewhat more advanced professionals, but that average age and experience is like 1 to 5 years. So it's not going to be like, you might be the youngest per se, but not necessarily a lot of a difference in terms of experience, but definitely one thing I love about teaching the grad students is, like Flavia said, y'all are choosing to be here. You're choosing to level up and advance. No one's saying you gotta be here, and that's a really nice thing. The other thing I would say, undergrad, you tend to be more of a consumer of knowledge. When it comes to grad school, you're like more of a co-creator of knowledge, and so you're gonna see. It depends on the program and the class, but you're gonna have just like for example, like those team projects.
Mhm.
You're working as a team on some project that's gonna package and create knowledge and in some way, and then likely in some format, present it or share it out. And so um, that's I think that's cool too, and that may be different than like, undergrad where you do team stuff, but it might be more like exams, and tests.
Or like ratings,
Readings.
do too well kind of thing.
Grad school tends to be more
Hands-on.
hands-on and more project oriented, and depending upon our 5 grad programs, some's going to be more hands-on than others with like connecting with industry and like the practice and the networking piece of things.
Yeah, I also want to add that you'll notice that a lot of your peers are putting in a lot of effort or making a lot of sacrifices to be in grad school as well. And I think that's evident by the way that they come and show up. They're motivated there. They know that they're doing some sort of extra work to be here and make the time with their busy lives. So I think it only adds to your experience.
I'd say we're for those of y'all watching the playback of this, tonight is our annual College of Communication alumni event, which I'll be heading to then at the Lincoln Park campus this evening.
Mm.
And it's really nice, like not just to see the alums, some of which are undergrad and grad, but to see particularly among the grad students, like you will build friendships
Yeah.
and relationships that will endure not just for like while you're in the program or a year or 3 years, but I regularly, come in touch with students from 10 years ago that are now like gone to each other's weddings, like not just been roommates, like been a boss and a colleague, like a supervisor. So that is something really special too about grad school and I think our programs.
Yeah, and maybe one thing you're gonna see with the workload is like in the undergrad classes, like Matt was saying, you kind of show up and the professor is supposed to teach you, and then you go home and you're supposed to like write a paper about
Mhm.
that. At the grad level, they're going to expect that you could come prepared with the knowledge. So you've read the journal articles and the research, and you're coming to discuss that and to apply it.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a lot more back-end work. Like out of class, you're gonna be doing all the teaching, all the learning.
Right.
And in class, you're gonna be doing the applying and the practical application and coming up with new thoughts based on that. So instead of a research paper where you reflect on what you learned, you're doing maybe a paper where you're applying what you learned into a new context to further the knowledge. So you're probably gonna be doing more work than you're used to, but it'll be much more fulfilling work in a lot of ways.
It's a good way to put it. L. Vega asks, for the letters of recommendation, is there anything specific you're looking for formatting wise? I have two professors already lined up, but they're asking if there's anything specific needed in the letters.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Olivia. Generally speaking, the letters are going to talk to your like academic aptitude and proficiency and how well they think you're prepared for grad school and to do well in a grad program. So it's pretty open-ended. That gives you like a little bit of direction. But most faculty will be used to putting together, personally, probably the strongest letters have more, and this gets into communication. There's a story and there's a narrative, right? And so it's not just Matt was a strong performer and excelled in class. It illustrates it then with a story or an example, like a project or a paper or something that went on in the class. Does that help a little bit, Olivia?
Yes, and if you want to make it, help out your professor as well, you can always send them some talking points, some specific examples. I'm sure sometimes you can't remember everything that all your students have done or all the works that they have done. So you can always remind them, like if you can speak specifically about, this example that we worked on or this contribution that I made in class, just kind of nicely bullet points for them that they can then just elaborate. I know that's always
That's a great
helpful.
recommendation. Like as someone who's written, I don't know, a lot of letters. It is really helpful. I've never thought, oh, that's not helpful.
Right.
The worst case is I may choose not to use that and I may say something differently, but helping to like prime me, to remind me of some specific, not just I was in this class with you, but some of the stuff I did in that class.
Exactly.
It makes it an easier. This is just smart as a young professional. You want to try to make lifts easier on busy people. Make the lift easier, and then, like I said earlier, give them like 2 weeks. Suggest, you know what I mean, to be able to turn around the letter to you, even if they may end up doing that faster. It shows respect kind of for their schedule and their expertise.
Absolutely. Any other questions online, in the room, thoughts?
I guess I'm just curious about the difference between like digital media
Yeah.
and like PR and advertising.
So I think Seth might have alluded to that a little bit earlier, the DCMA, Digital Communication and Media Arts, that degree has a fair amount of flexibility in it, the way it's structured in terms of classes. So some DCMA students will end up taking some grad classes. The Pratt MA itself does have in it two, is it?
So it's just gonna be much more focused. So the Pratt is gonna be generally our Pratt students take all Pratt classes.
Yes.
With the exception, every now and then a student will take a marketing class as
Yes.
an elective. They can take up to two
Two,
classes
yeah.
outside of PR and advertising, but the rest have to be in that department. Whereas in DCMA, you have to take at least one Pratt class.
Yeah.
You can take up to 5 if you want to, but you would just have a lot more flexibility from which departments you're taking classes from. So you can take classes from anything in the College of Computing and Digital Media, any journalism, media and popular culture, and PR and advertising classes. So there's a core of 4 classes you have to take. And then you get 2 electives from the College of Communication. You get 2 electives from the College of Computing and Digital Media. And then you get 3 electives that can be from any of those areas or from outside of our colleges as well. So you could do like a marketing class too. So the biggest difference is just the flexibility. Do you want to focus in on PR and advertising, or do you want to take some PR and advertising with a lot of other opportunities to take other classes?
To add, I always say that the DCMA program, it gives you a nice general overview of all the different functions within communications, but really focuses on developing that technical skill set and those competencies around digital media, technology, whatnot.
Yeah.
Whereas Pratt is much more specialized in that specific industry.
You know, one other observation I would make is like PR and advertising, those classes are all going to be taught by faculty within the College of Communication.
Yeah.
Right? And pedagogically, it's a very dedicated group of faculty with a certain style of teaching and Vincentian personalism. DCMA, because it's a joint degree, it's like you're going to take media arts classes more from MPOP, from within our college faculty. And then I'd say the more skills oriented classes are going to be from CDM, Computing and Digital Media. And so that's other faculty, right? Another college. And so that's a different experience sometimes, and candidly could be an adjustment for like their teaching style and how they go about things as opposed to how we might do things. So it's just something to be aware of.
Yeah, and I think if you're sort of torn or looking to pick between programs, the best way to look at it is just think about where do you want to end up? Like, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself working in advertising? Do you see yourself working in a different function of communications, and kind of working backwards from there, identifying the skill set that you need to work in that particular field, and then looking at the classes that are offered in the programs. You know, what program has the classes that will help you build that skill set to end up where you want to be. So work backwards, connect with students. I'm happy to make that connection. If you would like to talk to a current student, let me know. I see another question in the chat. I'm in Pratt for undergrad, and I'm looking at communication and media, specifically the popular culture concentration. I have my minor in MPOP, but will the Pratt to MPOP cause any issues / concerns?
No, that would be totally fine.
No.
Yeah, Seth is nodding his head saying
No,
no.
it shouldn't.
Yeah, if anything, you're just expanding your skill set,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
There's no prerequisites in the common media and pop concentration that you would be missing. You'd be able to slot into that very easily.
It's just like thinking about like the traditional graduate students when they come into our programs, you know, say MA in journalism, for example. Some of them might have a journalism undergrad, many of them don't, and have something with liberal arts or social sciences. Same thing with the MA in Pratt. Some of them might have had like a marketing IMC or a PR ad undergrad. Many of them don't have liberal arts or social sciences. So it's flexible in that regard. And the other thing is to remember, like, communication is truly interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary. And there's a lot of overlaps and connection points. And so that makes itself really nice and flexible to, as a faculty member, like as a teacher, I welcome all the different perspectives. Like that generally, just like the diversity of actual backgrounds and experiences of students, that makes everything better.
Hope that's helpful, Leon. Jaylene asked, hi, I'm a first year Pratt student and I was recommended to join. My question is, is communication law a thing here? If so, how do I get started? Communication law.
So communication law, so And you're a undergrad student right now,
student.
so yeah, so there is if you're a Pratt major, there's a required ethics course.
Mhm.
And there is also I believe another class as an elective that is law. And then I know if you're doing the Pratt MA, there's a required uh ethics and law
Mm.
course. So I don't know if that helps answer. You're welcome to kind of follow up with that and maybe like type in a little bit more, but that's some kind of off the cuff.
Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily a direct path to communication law.
Oh,
at
I see.
DePaul.
Okay, so yeah,
And they're
so
looking at that.
I mean, I would say over the years, like we have MA and Pratt alums that actually work in law firms in marketing. Usually it's not called communication in law firms, it's called marketing and like business development is actually like the team, but they do comms and PR work. So, I mean, law firms, bigger law firms have marketing and communication departments, and as a career option, you might also be asking about, there are law firms actually that specialize in media and communication law. And we certainly, over the years, I've written letters for master's alums as well as undergrads that have gone on to law school. So that's a couple different options, the way to think about communication law and media.
Yeah. So either law school or working at a marketing, business development.
For a,
function
for a,
for a law firm.
and I would mention, so Chicago, in terms of law, some of the largest law firms in the country are either headquartered here or have offices here. So a lot of times young people think about PR and advertising agencies, or they think about communication and marketing departments for companies. They don't think as much about what's called professional services, which is like law firms, accounting firms, employ thousands of people and have communication and marketing departments. And we have alums at all, at many of them.
That's so true. Yeah. It's an industry that's not tapped into enough.
Not as talked about as much.
Hope that was helpful. Jaylene, any other questions or thoughts before we wrap things up here?
Hey.
Yeah, I know earlier you talked about like the PR team working with like Xeno Group.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could probably like expand on that or maybe talk about more organizations that grad students work with.
Yeah, I mean, so as undergrads, y'all probably hopefully know about Michael Elias as a resource, who's our director of internships, and you get his weekly emails where he lists internships. But I think what you'll find in grad school, usually each week when I start my grad classes, I'll share opportunities that may have come directly across my desk, right? Where folks have reached out and said, I'm looking to hire young talent as an intern or entry level position or maybe more advanced. And so we'll share that. The other thing is, depending upon your grad program, like a PR and advertising, like a pro-com, we integrate in a lot with guest speakers. And so I think what you're referencing earlier is I said for my Prad 564 class that I teach once a year, every spring, our final presentations will be offsite, actually at the headquarters of a large PR agency, Xeno Group. And the judges that'll be hosting us and judging final presentations at Xeno will be mostly alums. Many of which in my case actually took my class back in the day at some point. So for them, it's kind of full circle, but we really create, like I think across all of our grad programs, a supportive community to where, you shine in the classroom and you've picked up not just a professor, but someone who can then be an advocate for you, potentially a mentor for you. And you're going to meet through your professor and guest speakers and projects. That's going to help be referrals and help get your foot in the door for different opportunities so that you're not, just applying because you saw something on XYZ job site, but you actually know of, a DePaul alum, for example, or a former guest speaker that's at that place you're interested
Close
and
connection.
maybe getting to. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's plenty of opportunities, and of course, I have to mention the PRAD program has been recognized as a top PR and advertising program in the country, in the nation, for the last 10 years, I believe. It's been in the top 5. So it is a nationally recognized program, which of course adds to the opportunities and to the name recognition that it has within the industry. There's also the PRAD showcase at the end of your graduate program, where all of the PRAD graduate students will showcase their portfolio of projects that they've completed throughout their studies. And that event is like one of my favorite events because we invite alumni, industry leaders, even members of the industry, the general industry. They all come to DePaul and they watch you exhibit your portfolio. So it's a great way for you to kind of put yourself out in the PR and advertising world as soon as you graduate.
So at the time of recording this, in 48 hours, I'll be in New York for the PR Week Awards with our dean, Lexa Murphy, and a couple colleagues. And we are finalists, as Flavio said, 11th time now for PR Education Program of the Year. And the other finalists are University of Florida this year, University of Georgia, which I was just down there a couple weeks ago, USC, so University of Southern California, and then Syracuse University in New York. So we are the only program, usually we are the only program in the Midwest that has gotten that recognition, as Flavio said, 11 times now and twice been named 2018, 2022, maybe 2026
Fingers
top
crossed.
program.
Already. Well, if there's no other questions, we will end the recording there and conclude the event. Thank you all for joining us. Please feel free to follow up via email or stick around and we're happy to chat further. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you guys so much. Please reach out if you've got our contact info. Thanks for joining.